Hello, welcome to KodeFighterz Klass with Master Hun. This is the first episode of season. I'm sorry, first episode, but I numbered it. It'll be numbered episode zero of season zero. And the title of this episode is Pre-Alpha, because KodeFighterz KwizKardz is currently in pre-alpha. So keep in mind that everything that I'm talking about today is subject to change period. So everything is in a state of flux right now. So let's get into it. Okay. So who am I? Who is Master Hun? So as a joke, really, I call myself the self-proclaimed America's #1 coding for kids expert, CFK expert. And here are some bullet points. Of course, I am the creator of KodeFighterz. Oops, I misspelled that. Please fix that. I didn't realize. KodeFighterz and KwizKardz. I am an experienced coding for CFK, coding for kids instructor, and experienced AP Computer Science Principles, AP CSP, AP Computer Science Principles, and AP Computer Science A tutor. I have 10 years of experience in Wall Street. 10 years experience in IT in Wall Street and the New York City, New York area. I have over 10 years of martial arts training, mostly Aikido, a little Taekwondo, Sistema, and Muay Thai. When I was studying at Hunter College, I fenced saber for 4 consecutive seasons for Hunter College, for the Hunter College fencing team. We were I believe they still are, Division III school. And finally, I have a Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science from Hunter College, CUNY. Okay, so what is KodeFighterz and KwizKardz? So in short, KodeFighterz KwizKardz is a competitive one-on-one coding card game. It's not the only coding card game, of course, there are others. But this one is specifically designed specifically designed to be a one-on-one coding card game. Although I am currently right now experimenting with a 2-person team versus 2-person team. So it's a 2-on-2 matches, but the idea is that this will be primarily a one-on-one. It will be primarily one-on-one matches. Again, everything, even though I'm kind of describing to you what KodeFighterz KwizKardz is, please keep in mind everything is pre-alpha, everything is subject to change. Okay, so ultimately, yes, I'm telling you, KodeFighterz KwizKardz is a competitive one-on-one coding card game, but ultimately, KodeFighterz KwizKardz is the solution to engagement. And what do I mean by that? How do I put this? How can I put this nicely? It's hard. Basically, most coding classes and coding instructors are fake. But not only are they fake, but the biggest problem is that although they may start with high engagement, it quickly drops off, which results in low retention, which results in obviously failure. It's a big fail. except as far as I know, if you believe what Code Ninjas, the leading coding for kids franchise, if you believe what they claim, an attrition rate of 8%, which is super good, because if you compare the Code Ninjas franchise to other tutoring or educational franchises like Kumon or Sylvain or such or Mathnasium, they typically have an attrition rate of about 30 to 40%. In other words, they have to be constantly selling and marketing and advertising to bring in new students, because they are constantly, every 6 to 9 months, they're losing 30 to 40% of their students. So their engagement and retention levels are relatively low. So they're only able to survive by constantly selling and marketing and advertising. So that is the problem that I have to deal with, and what other educators have to deal with, both in the public and the private sector. Engagement can start high, but then quickly drop very quickly. So the point of KodeFighterz is high engagement, which hopefully will lead to high retention, which I think you will agree which will result in success. And that's what we want as educators, whether we are in the private or public sector. We want success. And how do we do that? We know what the problem is. We don't necessarily have the solution. We need to start off and maintain high engagement, so that we will have maintain and keep high retention, so that we can have success. So that is ultimately the point of KodeFighterz KwizKardz, is that high engagement, high retention, and success. Okay, so to get into the details, KodeFighterz KwizKardz, what is that all about? So I said it was consisting mostly of one-on-one matches. So each match consists of 3 rounds: a round 0, a round 1, and a round 2. The first round will be a relatively easy question, relatively easy problem or puzzle to solve. Because I don't want, and it is relative to the level of the player, to the players or the pool of players. So I'm trying to prevent from the get-go having a situation where too many players end up with a 0 score. So although I don't want to guarantee that they're going to win each match, I don't want to guarantee they can't lose with a 0 score, but I would like to have players lose. Players will lose, but I don't want players to lose with a score of 0. So that's why I want to have 3 matches, where the 3 matches consisting of 3 rounds, and I want the first round to be a relatively easy round, easy question at an easy level. Now the second round will be a little harder, so kind of like creating tension, creating the pressure. And then the third round will be a harder question, a harder problem. And I didn't write it here, and this might change. Like I said, I'm in pre-alpha right now. So the idea is that each round, if both players can answer, can answer their question, problem, puzzle correctly, they get 1 point. If they can't answer the question, problem, puzzle correctly, they get no points. They get 0. There are no negative points, trying to avoid a negative score. Definitely will avoid a negative score. And like I said before, try to avoid too many code fighters losing with a score of 0, which my guess is that that's very demoralizing, and I don't want to demoralize code fighters. I want to encourage them to get better between matches. So each round will consist of one player attacking the opponent player with a quiz card, basically a quiz, a coding question, problem, or puzzle. So each round consists of the code fighter A attacking code fighter B, and then code fighter B attacking code fighter A, and that would be a full round. So each round would consist of that. Although I don't think right now it matters that much, but maybe in the future as the players level up, it'll probably be a slight advantage to attack first. So it'll be up to the quiz master to figure out which code fighter will attack first. And what I'm doing right now is I'm using a quick game of FizzBuzz to determine who gets to attack first, which code fighter gets to attack first. And I will, in a later episode, I will explain FizzBuzz, what the game of FizzBuzz is. Now the meat of KodeFighterz KwizKardz is that the code fighters will make their own quiz cards, and they will attack with their own quiz cards. So the most successful code fighters will have the strongest set of their own quiz cards. Optionally, a code fighter may attack with the standard deck, but that's not recommended, because eventually experienced code fighters will be very familiar with the standard deck, and basically it'll be very easy for a experienced code fighter to be able to answer the majority of the quiz cards in the standard deck. So code fighters are highly encouraged to make their own quiz cards and not to rely on their standard deck. But as of right now, optionally, code fighters can use the standard deck if they choose to do so, but at their disadvantage. Who needs KodeFighterz KwizKardz? So the age range that I am targeting the KodeFighterz KwizKardz card game are ages 7 to 14. Those are the code fighters. Now, also more importantly, who I'm targeting is first I'm targeting private tutoring centers and academies, who I believe will have the strongest demand for who will want to incorporate KodeFighterz KwizKardz into their STEM and/or coding curriculum classes. After the tutoring centers, private tutoring centers, academies, then I'm targeting parents who want their kids to learn to code. Then lastly, potentially public elementary schools. How does KodeFighterz work? I told you how the game works, but how does this solution solve this problem? And again, I said the problem is student engagement drops off quickly. retention. I wrote that wrong. Student engagement drops off quickly. Retention goes. Oh, I'm sorry. Retention. What I meant was attrition. Attrition rates go up. So you're losing students. You're not maintaining high retention. You're losing students. Okay, again, this is the magic formula. If you have high engagement, you'll have high retention, which means success. But if you have low engagement, you'll end up with low retention, and then you'll end up with failure, big fail. Again, the problem is student engagement drops off quickly, attrition rates go up, students aren't engaged, students don't come back, big fail, 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 fail. Okay, we don't want that. We do not want that. So I'm providing you with the solution. The solution is KodeFighterz. I'm trying to create a virtuous cycle. Virtuous cycle. KodeFighterz learn coding concepts, which helps them make their own quiz cards. And by learning coding, in order to make their own quiz cards, they have to learn coding concepts. So this hopefully will spark their motivation to learn coding concepts. So it'll be internal generated instead of externally generated. So if they make their own quiz cards and make better quiz cards, it'll result in winning more matches. Who doesn't like to win? Everyone likes to win, right? Which motivates KodeFighterz to learn more coding concepts, more advanced coding concepts, which results in stronger quiz cards. Their own deck of quiz cards will get stronger, which means they'll win more matches, which will motivate them to make stronger quiz cards by learning more advanced coding concepts. Because then essentially I'm setting up an arms race where as the KodeFighterz level up and get more experience, it's an arms race. So I'm trying to put them in that arms race cycle, right? So the opponent is making stronger quiz cards. You got to match them with your own strong quiz cards, and on and on. A virtuous cycle. So self-generating. So what I'm trying to say is a self-motivating, self-generating cycle. Now, in the beginning, as of right now, I am incorporating real prizes and rewards, Pokemon cards, Fortnite trading cards, Pokemon trading cards, Fortnite trading cards, Pokemon trading cards, Hot Wheels cars, not cards, Hot Wheels cars. In the past, I used some snacks. I'm not going to do snacks anymore. Non-food prizes right now. And also will be, for the older players, will be rewarding them with small denomination gift cards for things like In-N-Out, Amazon, Google Play Store, iTunes, like that. Ultimately, we know that's not sustainable. So what I am in the process of doing is what I will be ultimately doing is rewards are important, of course. Rewards are important, but how can you sustain a reward system that doesn't bankrupt you, right? So I'm starting off with real prizes, real physical, non-food, physical prizes and rewards. Relatively inexpensive, but still it's something that you have to pay for, even though it doesn't cost really that much. Somewhere between prizes that are cost, each item costs about maybe $1 to $5 or less than, typically less than $5. But ultimately we know that's not sustainable. So how can we sustain this? So what I'm planning on doing is incorporating virtual rewards, which I've already started, but I'm going to incorporate more virtual rewards. Ultimately, KodeFighterz KwizKardz, KodeFighterz will only be sustainable if I can create the desire in the KodeFighterz for virtual rewards. Things that virtual prizes and rewards that don't cost anything for anything, doesn't cost you anything, does not come out of your pocket. Just costs you a little bit of time and maybe some stationery. So of course it's rank, right? Higher levels. The KodeFighterz that get more experience, that win more matches, they will level up. And the big benefit of the incentive of leveling up is they will earn status. They will earn prestige, because as I've told one of my KodeFighterz, I let him know, okay, so you're level 0 right now. I want to level you up to, I want to give you a give you a give you a give you a test and rank you to level 1. So I want to take you from level 0 to level 1. And what that means is that although you will still have matches with level 0 KodeFighterz, those matches will not count. Only when you have matches with other level 1 KodeFighterz, only will then those matches count. So I think that's a huge advantage and a huge reward. So what, and it's essentially clearly creates status, and that's just kind of tapping into the human condition, where human beings crave status, and it's something that can be awarded, can be handed out, but won't cost you anything to do. Okay, we have levels. That's one of the rewards, leveling up, prestige, status. And another prestige and status reward or prize would be different badges. So we have different badges. And I have flawless victory badge, and with each flawless victory, it'll count. There'll be a number attached. So every time they win a flawless victory, it'll be recorded. So if they won 3 flawless victories, it'll say FV3. So because they won 3 flawless victories. So each flawless victory will be recorded. Flawless victory. And then we have 3 pointers. So every time they play a match and they answer all 3 questions, or they win a point each round. So there are 3 rounds. So if they solve each coding puzzle, problem, question of the match, they have a 3-pointer. So although the matches may have, although the match may have ended in a draw, where nobody was able to beat the other, but it'll still be recorded as a 3-pointer. So, and every time they draw or win a match with a 3-pointer, it'll be recorded. So it'll be 3P1, 3P2, 3P3, and on and on. So every time they earn a 3-pointer, it'll be recorded. And also we will have a quiz maker badge. So every time they make a quiz sheet, so each match consists of 3 rounds. So if they put together a quiz sheet that has been approved, has been checked and approved, quiz sheet that they use, and it helps them to win matches. And every time they make the appropriate quiz sheet that gets approved and that they use in a match, and they use it to win matches, then they will every quiz sheet they make will be recorded. So if they make 5 quiz sheets, then they'll have a badge that says KM5. And this is one that I just came up today, would be the senior badge, and that would be a senior code fighter would be one that has 50 plus matches. So once they've achieved 50 once they've fought 50 certified matches, then they will be, from then on, will be considered a senior code fighter. And I think you can see that there are many. Really, it's not just these set of badges. You can have more and more badges. It's just up to your imagination, and this is something that, again, is a reward. It's a prize that you can give the code fighters will fight for, be motivated to learn to code to earn these badges. And this is very sustainable because it doesn't really cost you anything to award these badges. Maybe you just print it out on a piece of paper to make it look pretty, but really it doesn't really cost anything to award these badges. Okay, and then so we have rank, levels, we have badges, we have all these different kind of badges you can hand out, and then we have consumable loot boxes. Very controversial, the idea of a loot box, right? So what's important is that these rewards are consumable. These are not permanent. So this will hopefully create a desire in the players to fight and win, so that they can earn these consumable rewards and prizes, which are one time only. For example, so basically these are like these give the code fighters a one-time special power. One of them would be essentially it would be special powers that would come in, could be written on a piece of paper or index card, and basically once they use this special power or this special card or special ability, then the card gets ripped up because you can only use it once. For example, the code fighter may have a special card that says extra 30 seconds. So they get a little bit of extra time to work on a coding problem, puzzle, quiz, question, extra time. So and then that's only one time use only. It's consumable. They can only use one time, the special ability, and then afterwards cannot use it more than once. and then we'll can also have hint cards. So they can be awarded with a hint card that they can use in the future, but only once. And once they use the hint card, then the card is ripped up and thrown in the garbage can because it's consumable. So we have extra 30 seconds to work on to figure out to come up with to work on a coding problem. Get a hint card, so you get a hint that can help you to figure out what the answer is if the code fighter is for whatever reason has a brain fart and has no idea what the problem what the solution could be. And then we have another one. We have 15 seconds on your smartphone, so you can do a Google search on the smartphone for 15 seconds to help them try to come up with the correct answer. And also we have the lifeline call, so they could call, not a real call, it's more like a pretend call. I call it a lifeline call, but the person they're actually quote calling might be actually in this, in the same location with them, or it might be to somebody that they have to actually call on a phone. So the lifeline call, so they can make let's say a 60 second conversation on a lifeline call to somebody who can help them come up with the correct answer. So I had another special ability card. I don't have it here. Okay, lastly, finishing up. How much does it cost? It's free. So the idea is that it will be free. You will be able to download and print the rules and the standard deck and quiz sheet templates for free. You will be able to download and print for free at no cost. Also, of course, to help you in order to know how to play the game, you'll need to, it would be helpful. So it's the sign of our times that now that before people would buy board games and then they would have to figure out from the rules that were in the board game how to play the board game. But now since we are living in 2019, it's the 21st century. So nowadays people can go to YouTube and almost certainly find a video tutorial on YouTube that will show them how to play most board games and even past board games, current, and even some future board games, past, current, and some future board games. So even though the board game may not even be out yet on stores, they'll be able to actually see how you play the board game. So these are the times that we live in. So there will be free videos on YouTube for them to not only that will explain that not only teach them coding concepts, but will also teach them how to play KodeFighterz KwizKardz. Okay, covered a lot of stuff today. Okay, well, thank you for listening to my first episode of KodeFighterz Klass. And today's episode was titled Pre-Alpha, Season 0, Episode 0. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. Never stop coding.